Indian Ocean. Its waves pound on one of the most popular stretches of the South African coastline. Millions of tourists flock here annually, in spite of its notorious reputation. Local beaches provide a paradise for water sport lovers from all over the world. Its mysterious depths, full of life and capped by huge waves, are a mecca for young surfers. These waters are irresistible in spite of the ever-present threat of a predator with a terrifying reputation. One of the most feared and mysterious creatures on our planet. In 1998, 15-year-old surfer Mark Yucca was attacked by a shark near Port Elizabeth. Ryan Johnson, a keen marine biology student, is interested in cases such as these as a part of his research on great white sharks. Shark activity is monitored along the entire South African coastline, and Ryan makes a point of visiting many of these shark hotspots in person. This time he's traveling east to Mossel Bay. It's a 150-kilometer journey from Kleinby, but Ryan is enjoying the countryside. It reminds him of his New Zealand homeland. Ryan decides to take a bird's-eye view of this surfer's paradise. The young scientist is sure that the intense surf zone is one of the reasons why sharks are so active here. Most attacks take place very close to beaches such as this. Ryan wants to find out why. The bay offers locals a beautiful beach with pristine sparkling water. Perfect, except for the great whites. Ryan is convinced that these waters provide the sharks with ideal conditions for taking it easy. The predators rise slowly to the surface, often just beyond the breaking waves. Here they can lie in wait for hours, possibly resting. This is the first time the phenomenon has been observed. This is the home of internationally respected shark expert Andre Hartmann. Scientists, filmmakers and photographers from all over the world are keen to share Andre's knowledge and experience. His exceptional sensitivity and instinct allow him to cross the imaginary divide between safety and jaws.
When I started freediving, it became a story for me to find out more about them. So you sort of push the envelope every time a little more. You get a little bit closer, you start touching them, you pull on the pectoral fin and touch the tail, touch their body. You can feel when you touch the body, there's like a muscle spasm going. I can feel the touch. They're like jittery. It's almost like you're tickling them, and I'm not comfortable with that.
Andre knows how to lure sharks towards cameramen and set up the best shots. Totally familiar with the local conditions, Andre really understands the behavior of these animals. Few television documentaries about great whites have been made without Hartmann's assistance.
I think the sharks see me as another predator. I think the chum makes them think the boat is the food. and the piece of bait that we have hanging off the back is a piece that's broken off. They're more interested in the boat than really the bait, but they'll go for that piece because it's smaller. But you'll find that they want to bite the corners of the boats, they want to bite the engines, they want to see if they can bite a piece off. And if you're in the water with them, they treat you as another predator trying to feed on the same thing they're feeding on, and they leave you alone. You're much safer that way than if you go spearfishing on your own outside there, and you're hanging on the surface alone like a lone seal swimming. And you know how they take them out like that? And that's the problem, that's the only problem I have with them, is that when you're on your own, you can be taken out quite quickly.
It is early morning. Andre is returning earlier than expected from an inspection tour of Giza Island, known for its dense seal population. Visibility is not ideal for shark cage diving, and Andre spends the morning with Ryan, who has returned from Mossel Bay. They go through archival videos in Andre's house and analyze shark behavior in various situations.
Okay, he looks at that guy's fins. See, he looks up, he's right next to them. And this guy's got the dry suit and he's very buoyant. He keeps bouncing around. But he's not at all interested in the yellow guy. Now, I thought the yellow would attract him more. But he's not worried about the yellow guy, he's worried about the shiny blue fins.
Some moments defy standard diving procedure, even on Andre's terms.
Look how he looks at those fins. First the one, then the other.
On this unique occasion, the shark took a liking to one of the cameraman's fins.
I think this is it here, maybe. Look at him, look at that fin. You gotta watch it again. Just gonna go back.
Oh, goodness.
Back a little bit and I'm gonna slow it down.
He bit him.
Clearly not interested in the diver, it eventually took a bite only of the diver's fin and not his leg.
Oh, my goodness.
Was it possible that the silver sheen to the fin reminded the shark of fleeing fish? The next day, visibility is poor again. Andre and Ryan make the best of their time by surface viewing. Today, they need to attach small transmitters to free-swimming sharks. These are part of an automated monitoring system which Ryan has helped establish. Tagged transmitters will send back information about shark movements to special receivers placed on the seafloor in areas where great whites tend to congregate. The sharks cooperate, and the young researcher manages to place the miniature transmitters on their backs. This experimental monitoring system is excellent, but there is one problem. Depositing the receiver onto the sea floor means diving into a very dangerous place. Without Andre's help, this would be impossible. Although sharks have become Ryan's job, he has yet to meet them in open water and is understandably nervous. Finally, the weather improves. Part of Ryan's studies take him to nearby Port Elizabeth, and he plans to visit Bird Island, a known hotspot for great white sharks. The Spirit of Millennium is comfortable and spacious. The experienced crew has been looking forward to this trip for a long time. They've been waiting for favorable weather, and finally, it has arrived.
Port Control. Spirit Millennium, requesting permission to leave harbour, over.
Even though the aim of this trip is great white sharks, they are sailing towards rocks completely covered with penguins, cormorants, and seagulls. The morning sun glitters on the sea surface, and a mild wind augurs an easy run. Ryan can see himself crossing the entire Indian Ocean on this beautiful boat.
black rock over here.
The Millennium crew carefully studies the cliffs around Bird Island and selects a suitable anchoring position. The heavy anchor settles on the rocky bottom. Bird calls echo from a distance. Ryan knows that penguins look awkward on the ground, but they are fast and agile underwater. Unless a shark manages to take a penguin by surprise, it's not an easy bird to catch. Sharks occasionally come here to investigate strange flightless birds and leave their telltale call sign, a crescent-shaped scar. One of Ryan's tasks is to find penguins that show the scars of such shark bites. This will help the researcher establish whether any sharks have been in the area recently. The island's inhabitants resent the intrusion. Some make a beeline for the water. Ryan radios the mothership. He wants to know if the crew has recorded any white shark activity.
Okay, keep waiting. Standing by.
Apparently a small white shark has been nosing around the ship for the past hour. It has even found a feathered friend. The giant petrel, always hungry, has lost its sense of humor today. First all these persistent seagulls, and now this one has joined in. Back on board, the crew start preparing bait. Now is the time to find out if the real master of the ocean is around. Today's special is tuna heads, sardines, and shark liver. No predator in the world would miss such a tempting cocktail. Everybody's hoping that the sharks will take to it. Ryan doesn't seem to like the smell, and even the penguin appears to share his opinion. After a brief consultation with his stomach, Ryan reports back for duty. Today, one of his tasks is to recover a sample of shark tissue, which will be sent to the University of Aberdeen for a detailed laboratory analysis. Before long, the first donor arrives, lured by the promise of food. Even though the shark appears to be calm, recovering its tissue without hurting it requires experience and great skill. This large female stays smart and deep beneath the surface, well out of reach of the tagging pole. Ryan knows he has only one chance. He can't afford to waste it.
Big, eh? so deep.
Finally, the effort pays off. The valuable sample is put in a container with alcohol, and information about the donor is carefully recorded. Despite occasional bouts of seasickness caused by the rocking vessel, the young biologist is satisfied. Back in Gans Bay, Andre has also been successful. The weather is cooperative, and so are the sharks. Professional and amateur photographers are getting what they paid for. A fantastic show. With every Hartmann nudge, the shark seems to want to show off more and more. Everyone who has met this South African shark shaman agrees on one thing. They have all shared moments with him that they'll never forget.
What's he doing, coming back?
Sometimes you get to meet a real fighter, and he'll give you a real show, says Andre. It's just a little game of ours. When Toothy gets bored, he simply disappears and doesn't come back, he adds. During the evenings, Ryan continues to study cases of shark attack victims. He believes that most attacks are motivated by curiosity and inquisitiveness, rather than malice. However, in a few unique cases, the motivation may be hunting. He believes that sharks adopt a hit first, ask questions later approach. In this case, the shark's advanced sensory array may be fooled. A case of mistaken identity? Ryan decides to check out his theory of sharks attacking something that only resembles a seal. He hopes his experiment will provide some evidence for his theories on the predator strategies of the great white. Andre and Ryan have assembled something from a thick black rubber that looks like a seal. Ryan attaches a polyvinyl string. He pulls this flat and reels out a strangely moving rubber dummy behind the dinghy. The rest is left up to the shark's imagination and the crew's patience.
Yeah, that's about far enough, Toby. Just tie it off, mate.
They are moving in an area with a dense seal population, and Ryan believes that if a shark sees this model, it will provoke a strike. predator doesn't disappoint them. Believing that it has just caught an injured seal, it bites the fake victim ferociously and leaves one of its teeth behind as a souvenir for the crew. The picturesque village of Clainby is waking up to a beautiful morning. All the boat crews licensed for shark cage diving are preparing for a busy day. It is also a special day for Ryan. He's going to dive with Andre in Shark Alley near Dyer Island. They will try to maintain an essential part of his monitoring system. The mini transmitters on the shark's back can't function without a receiver.
It's got one vulnerable point, and that is over there. So just be careful, Jan.
Ryan hopes that this dangerous mission will go smoothly.
Normally, in this temperature water, the coldness of the water.
Everything is ready for installation, but most important is the courage to enter these dangerous waters. Ryan has been studying sharks for many years, but he's never had a chance to dive with them. They find the spot quickly and concentrate on working fast. A shark could turn up at any time. After a couple of minutes, they encounter their first problem. The bolts for attaching the receiver don't fit, and Andre has to go back up to the boat. Ryan tries to concentrate fully on holding the receiver. His stomach knots, and he suspects that he's not alone in the ocean. Waiting for Andre is like eternity. Seconds pass like hours. Finally, Andre returns. He has seen the shark. It's time to hurry. It takes time to attach the receiver. The giant female homes in on the intruders in her kingdom. While the shark is patrolling, they cannot risk surfacing and exposing themselves to the shark on the surface. Ryan keeps on repeating to himself Andre's advice. When the shark comes, never let it out of your sight. Don't be afraid, and if you are, don't show it. Their great white has been circling them for 45 minutes. In the end, its curiosity satisfied, it disappears into the blue-green semi-darkness. Ryan travels to Port Elizabeth. He has a meeting with surfer Mark Yoka. Ryan wants to know the details about Mark's unfortunate encounter. They meet on the beach where several years ago Mark nearly lost his life. The young surfer describes his terrifying ordeal.
There's no doubt about it in my mind that I was lucky. It was a miracle, if not one or two. Like when I lost my board, that my board popped up next to me, that the shark didn't come back and attack me. I mean, You see on my board where it hit my board it was basically inches away from my elbow bone, and that the shark, when it bit, it basically just ripped my tricep out, tore my whole tricep off my arm. Yeah, this was the chunk that it bit out. That whole chunk, it took it right out. My friend actually found it later on the beach. It washed up. You can see how it bit around there. See how it bit into there.
The thing with the white shark bites is you look for the very distinctive bite, because they have this classical semicircular bite.
Ryan studies the shark bite in detail. He can easily imagine what would have happened to Mark had the shark struck his body.
It's basically, yeah, I'd be lying like that on my board, and you can see that's, and what I was doing, I was lying on my board like this and stroking with this hand and obviously kicking. And I mean, you can see, look how close that is to my...
So this has just been up here?
Yeah.
All I needed was that and that.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying.
Even though Mark has survived a traumatic encounter with a great white, Ryan makes him an interesting offer to visit Kleinby and Andre and to come face to face with his nemesis again.
See, the positive side is to come down to Hansby and go cage diving with a friend of mine, Andre Hartman.
Mark tries to suppress his excitement and accepts the offer immediately. The Indian Ocean gives another demonstration of its power. It's waiting time again. Mark's experiment in Kleinby has also been postponed. Ryan and Andre have to leave immediately. The Natal Sharks Board have recovered a great white shark in their nets 120 kilometers out of Durban. It apparently has one of Ryan's transmitters attached to its body. Meanwhile, Mark makes a trip to the local aquarium. He knows that sand tiger sharks are nowhere near as dangerous as great whites. Nevertheless, he watches them with great respect and prepares himself mentally for his big day. The deceased shark arrives at the Natal Sharks Board Institute in Durban. Ryan's transmitter and ID tag are still attached, and his task now is to gather as much information about the specimen as possible. The miniature transmitter on its body is an important asset. Ryan and Andre are led into a laboratory for the autopsy. It could provide clues as to the last days of this specimen's life.
The shark caught at Upton 20. Down the south coast. 120 kilometers south of here.
The shark, a female, looks very thin, almost as if it hadn't made any recent kills. The autopsy will confirm this. Ryan suggests taking the transmitter off the body first. Comparing his notes with information from the transmitter, he'll be able to recognize which shark it was and where it was tagged. First, the liver is removed. It represents an unbelievable 18% of the shark's body weight. Without extracting huge amounts of liver, it is impossible to reach the creature's heart. This is followed by an examination of the stomach contents. The stomach is completely empty. A surprising discovery, considering the great white's prowess as a hunter. Now it's Mark's turn. Ryan had told him yesterday that the weather had improved and that Andre was ready to set sail. Mark takes leave of his mother, who is fully aware of what her son is in for. She also knows that this is his own personal decision. Only he knows why. From Port Elizabeth, the journey will take Mark at least 7 hours. He's in no hurry. He has a lot to think about. When he finally sees the Gansbaai road sign, he feels a tremor of excitement. He knows that his meeting with a great white shark is very near. Andre and Ryan welcome Mark as if they were old friends.
How's Mark?
How's it, Andre? How you doing?
I heard a lot about you.
A large number of safety cages catch Mark's eye. Now he can really feel that this is where the great white shark encounters happen.
The shark got into the cage.
Andre tests Mark's sense of humor by recounting some dramatic moments he's experienced with these animals.
Fold it open, this folded in.
On this occasion, 2 American tourists requested a safety cage with an opening large enough to accommodate a professional camera.
And the guys could see this thing and they went down and more down and eventually were lying on the bottom. And the shark was really coming in, his face smashing across the inside of the cage. And it pulled one of the regulators of one of the guys' mouths. And then he had no air, so he had to go out for air. So he was quite clever. He pushed the shark neatly away and then ducked out of one of the windows. As he got out, he climbed up the top. And the other guy took his cue, saw what happened, took his cue and then jumped out another window. And I, of course, was outside the cage.
The behavior of these amazing, mysterious creatures is unpredictable. Everyone agrees on that point. Mark listens uneasily, but soon realizes that he's in good hands. Andre suggests setting out the next day so that they can spend the afternoon studying the program for tomorrow. It's pretty lively around Giza Island today. Thousands of playful seals romp around in the placid waves. The recent storm has prevented them from swimming out, so now they're making up for lost time. Ryan's receiver near the rocks is still a novelty for them. Their curiosity gets the better of them. But too much fun and games is risky business in these waters. Innocent games often degenerate into a race for life. This seal has succeeded in severely biting its enemy during their struggle. Sharks have 2 vulnerable spots, eyes and gills. If wounded there, they often give up and let the seal go. But even so, the seal's injuries are serious, and in Shark Alley there are always predators fascinated by torn bodies. Its chances of survival are next to none. At last, Mark's great day arrives. The weather is good. Joining Mark, there will also be an experienced shark cameraman on board. Andre and the cameraman will have an unusual task today. They want to film the sharks in open water, unencumbered by the protection of a safety cage. If visibility is good, they'll also retrieve one of Ryan's receivers. Mark will be watching from the safety cage, which is already on board.
Come on, hop on. Chifa, how are you? My old friend, I'm okay. Hello, my little lady. Come on.
The excellent weather has put everyone in a good mood. Mark checks the cage. Will it prove solid enough? Everything is ready, and the boat sets off for the area with the highest density of great white sharks in the world. Over the past 10 years, these predators have put Dyer Island firmly on the map. The first stop after the island is devoted to Mark. There's a good chance of fine visibility here, and maybe even a rendezvous from the depths. Preparation of shark liver and fish guts has become routine for Andre. Today he's taken extra care with his choice of bait. Unlike tuna blood, which often makes great whites aggressive, shark livers keep the sharks interested but relaxed. With the help of the chum, the liver's oil floats across the surface, creating a chum slick covering several kilometers. It doesn't take long for the first inquisitive shark to show up. This shark isn't the largest, but Andre gives Mark a sign to get ready, just in case Junior hangs around the boat long enough. Ryan decides to join Mark. He believes his friend will feel better if they stick together. The shark is still there, and Andre urges Mark to hurry things up. Suddenly, Andre spots a huge female. No one else has seen it. Andre hesitates, but in the end, lets Ryan and Mark into the water. Mark Yucca plucks up courage. He knows he's about to come face to face with the mythical creature that nearly killed him 5 years before. Mark has no words for his first impression. The infamous killer seems so beautiful, majestic, and so calm. Mark is thrilled to see this perfect predator from close up. His perceptions of a ferocious, mindless killing machine evaporate forever. But with 2 flicks of its tail, the shark springs to life. The predator reveals itself in all its greatness and strength. Mark experiences tense moments in the cage, but he's carried away by the encounter. It exceeds his wildest expectations. The time has come to move on to Shark Alley, closer to Dyer Island. Everyone except Mark will dive there. Ryan will be able to retrieve his receiver, gaining vital information on the movements of tagged sharks. Andre's boat stops alongside a strange floating mass, a dead southern right whale. It's impossible to establish the cause of its death, but everyone can see who's responsible for the pieces of flesh and blubber missing from its body. A couple of great white sharks ignore the boat and continue to carve up the whale's rotting remains. Andre moves the boat to within an arm's reach of the decomposing whale, but the crew are having trouble reconciling this with their lunch. When the shark sinks its teeth into the entrails, it's too much even for Hartman. The boat moves on, and everybody starts breathing fresh air again. With the help of GPS navigation, they locate Ryan's receiver. Andre wastes no time and dives in to check for visibility. Good visibility is vital here. He's delighted. Conditions couldn't be better. Young Mark may be about to witness the meeting of a great white shark with a human being in the open sea. Up until now, he's only heard about these brave men. He's never dreamed of seeing them in action himself. Just as Andre and the cameraman reach the receiver, the guardian of the reef appears. It is abnormally large, and Andre's thinking he should have left Ryan on board. But it's too late for that now. Ryan is already on his way down. This 5-meter female shark is exceedingly curious. Andre knows he can't risk taking his eyes off her. So far, the shark is calm and offers the cameraman some great shots. Ryan is fascinated by the shark. His receiver will have to wait. The great white seems to test each diver, selecting its victim. It even approaches Mark's cage. The shark tightens its hunting circles, guarding the divers very carefully. The game of cat and mouse has begun. The situation is becoming more and more aggravating. The divers start to feel hot in the cool water. The cameraman uses his experience to fend off the female shark, but everybody knows that the time has come. Ryan is all by himself, without any means of protection. Andre swims quickly towards him to cover his back, but it's too late. This shark has just made its choice. Andre swims as hard as he can and hits the monster with his camera. The gigantic female responds immediately. She abandons her prey and swims off into a blue infinity. Back home in Port Elizabeth, Mark is reviewing the shots of his great adventure near Dyer Island. He keeps rewinding the footage from Andre's camera. He realizes that even the most feared of ocean predators may be more cautious than a human being. Perhaps it was all just an innocent game, interrupted by one ordinary human encounter. Mark's new friends, Ryan Johnson and Andre Hartman, have undoubtedly opened up a better way for him to understand this unknown and unexplored world. A world whose rhythm and balance are governed by the invincible powers of sea and ocean. A world which is being conquered and devastated by man in a desperate effort to expand his dominions. This is a world full of mysteries, whose depths stay hidden behind a veil of secrets and myths. And one of these myths is the myth about the feared master of the seas. A myth that might have gone on striking fear into our hearts, needlessly, for centuries to come.
Ben Cropp is a famous shark hunter. His defence was once a spear between himself and the shark. Now, armed only with a camera, he joins the shark a metre away. In 52 years of diving, there have been many changes in Ben's remarkable career. Ben began diving back in 1950 and became a champion spear fisherman at a time when the pristine reefs were teeming with fish. In 1963, he swapped his spear gun for an underwater camera and turned to making shark hunting films. Now, 40 years later, with more than 100 wildlife documentaries, Ben Cropp has become a living legend. This is the story of a shark hunter. Picturesque Port Douglas has been Ben's home base for the past 23 years. His little mate Tuffy enjoys a daily beach walk. Ben's vessel, Freedom, is parked right in front of his home. Old dive buddies regularly drop in.
Knock, knock.
Oh, good day, John. How are you? Ben, John's here.
Oh, hi, John.
Former shark hunter and filmmaker John Harding has dived with Ben over the past 40 years.
Good to see you.
Yeah, likewise. Well, Ben, I like the new boat. You've certainly come a long way since those days of a 14-foot tinny.
Well, before that, John, it was a surf ski for 10 years, much, much smaller.
Well, tell us about the early days.
Well, I guess I had my first dive when I was about 3, and that was up in Booker in the Solomon Islands where my father was a missionary. And I fell headfirst into our pool, bottoms up, and I would have drowned, only my sisters saw me and raced in, grabbed me and pulled me out. And I guess that started my love of the water in a strange way. But I also loved fishing. I was mad on fishing. And about January 1950 in Ballina, I was watching these Torres Strait Islanders from a mission boat, and they were spearfishing. And they had primitive goggles and a long spear, and they were getting fish. And I thought, wow, this looks like a good way of getting fish. So I went home and I made my own equipment. I got the inner tube of a motorcycle and fashioned a rubber mask, which had a pane of glass and a strap around it. And I got someone, the foundry, to make me a long spear. And off I went and started spearfishing. I guess I mucked around for a couple of years, didn't know whether I was any good, just brought home a feed. And then we moved up to Tweed Heads in 1953. And that's when I teamed up with 2 really top divers, Ron Cox and Frank Kirkham, who became Australian champions shortly afterwards. And that year they had the first Australian Championship, and I got in the team, and surprisingly we won. And I went on to win 6 Australian spearfishing titles and represented Australia at the world titles. I wasn't necessarily the best, John, in those days, but I had that determination and stamina. You know, I just refused to give up. And when I finally lost that, then I just couldn't win anymore. I always wanted to make my living out of diving because I loved it so much. And I had 2 choices. One was abalone diving down south in the cold, and I went, no, thank you, or underwater filming. So I took that up because that took me up into the warm climes, and I took on the subject of sharks and shark hunting because no one was really filming sharks in those days. Now, what you saw of me spearing sharks with an ordinary spear gun, I mean, that was good, but it was frightening because sometimes, you know, I was pretty close to being chewed up. So a friend and I, we invented an explosive head that used a 12-gauge shotgun cartridge that screwed on the end of a hand spear. And when I lunged at the shark with this weapon, the shell exploded on impact, and the shark, well, it was just killed instantly by the shock. It was very effective on the slow-moving grey nurse sharks, as you remember, John. And then other divers followed, and it became a sport, and almost put the grey nurse into extinction. Then another diver started to use a 303 Army issue cartridge in the explosive head, and we found that was much more effective with the faster moving sharks.
Now this uses a 303 Army issue cartridge, and we have a movable firing pin here so that when the whole lot is screwed up together, all it has to do is hit the shark, and this blasts the charge straight into the shark, and if it's hit anywhere in the head, it will kill it instantaneously.
Originally, Ben's shark hunting began as a search for a repellent. Then the invention of the explosive head in 1963 was a new instant confidence booster for all the adventurous. Yet it was to be misused by an over-enthusiastic minority.
Now, you'd remember just how popular these shark hunting films became after Shark Hunters, and I ended up winning the International Underwater Photographer of the Year award just after Cousteau and Hans Hassett won it.
2 diving legends.
All because of a shark hunting film, the second one I did, called Shark Safari.
Now I'm sorry for all this shark killing. In fact, I truly wish that we'd never designed the explosive head in the first place. Because I feel that, well, the shark is a beautiful, streamlined creature. He fits in well in the environment. He's not really interested in us. And I feel that, well, even this shark has a right to live.
Then along came the film Jaws. You know, everyone had this massive fear of white sharks that didn't exist before. And you may remember a promoter came to me and said, I'll give you $1 million if you fight a great white.
Bill Sargent, I think.
Yeah, and was supposed to be a fight to the death. Got an enormous amount of publicity worldwide. Not good publicity, totally.
Wasn't Evel Knievel and Muhammad Ali involved?
They were to be the judges. Anyway, it never happened because the promoter died and the shark lived. Well, the big change came for me in 1964, and I'm sure you recall that that's the time that George Mai and I met and rode on this absolute monstrous whale shark.
Yeah, down at Montague.
Yes, and it was front page headlines, you know, around the world. And it just changed me totally, you know, to be sitting on the back of this absolute giant. And I sort of thought, after that, you know, who wants to go and kill sharks anymore? I stopped hunting sharks and I became a conservationist, and I started doing films about the creatures rather than hunting them.
Some people find it hard to believe that you're able to change, but you need that experience in order to see the light.
That's right. It's a progression. I guess that was my greatest scoop, you know, up till then. And even National Geographic magazine used my photo as that 3-page fold-out. But a couple of years after that, John, I met another whale shark, and this was off Surfers Paradise. And at that time, they had a shark spotting plane up overhead, and it was relaying live down to the people on the beach through the loudspeakers as to exactly what was going on.
From a Skywatch aircraft, we've presently been circling a very large whale shark, just been sighted off Main Beach. It's very large fish, looks most spectacular from up here. The rest of the coast seems to be quite free of marine life, but this large fish is right off Main Beach, around about 200 yards out, swimming northbound, and we'll keep you advised as to its movements later on the day. We believe Ben Cropp is on his way down to have an attempt at riding this whale shark.
These scenes of a giant, docile and harmless shark were a sensational hit worldwide, heralding a new and intelligent era in our attitude towards the most feared and most misunderstood denizen of the deep. Ben acknowledges that the earlier hunting era was a necessity, a natural progression to the popularity of scuba diving, and the respect and protection of marine life.
Well, Ben, out of all those books you've written, the first one, Handbook for Skin Divers, I really remember well. The instructions on how to make a spear gun were terrific, and of course tips on underwater photography was exactly what I was after in those days. Ben, 50 years now, underwater experience. I guess the question everyone asks though, but what was the worst experience you ever had with sharks?
I remember the worst, and it was out in the Coral Sea, and we wanted to film sharks, so we did the usual thing of spearing fish, and that was fine, getting good footage. But then in came 6 more sharks at the end of it, and they'd missed out on the food, and they looked at me and probably thought, well, we're going to get this guy, and all 6 of them just screamed in at me. And I literally panicked, you know. I kicked backwards, and at the same time I was kicking them, trying to kick them off me. I kept the camera running all the time that was happening, and it seemed to go on for an eternity. I was totally exhausted. And then later when I replayed the film, it only lasted 15 seconds. Mostly I had close encounters with sharks in dangerous situations, not necessarily, you know, life-threatening like that attack. For example, one time we found a leathery turtle. Now, leathery turtles are rare, and this leathery turtle was actually rolling around upside down. And then we realised that a great white shark was hanging around close by, and this was an evasive tactic by the turtle. Foolishly, I jumped in the water.
The shark's back!
Where's the turtle?
I don't know, but the shark's back.
What? Where?
I don't know, he was here a minute ago. He's probably under the boat.
And I got filmed, but I mean very, very brief, because as soon as that white turned away from the thrashing of the turtle and turned towards me, I thought, he's going to take me instead, and I jumped out of the water quite quickly.
Did you see him?
Oh, yeah. I don't like him. Don't trust him at all. There he is. Big one, about 4 metres. Now, with great whites, it's really risky, you know, being in the water with them. And so in all my future filming with them, I really got in a cage. This was down at Albany in Western Australia, and it was just before whaling was closed totally in Australia. And Hugh Edwards and I, we got this cage and we put it right beside this dead whale, this harpooned whale, and filmed the great whites coming in. And these sharks would come in and take dinner-sized chunks out of the whales with each bite.
The great white or white pointer is the most awesome marine animal of all. These sharks pursue migrating pods of whales to prey upon the weaker newborn, or, in this example, the harpooned whales brought into the old whaling station at Albany, Western Australia.
Then the shark would turn around and see us in the cage and would come up to the cage and ram the cage, bump it, and eventually it almost got too dangerous, you know, even to be in the cage. Another time we're out at Middleton Reef near Lord Howe Island, and we wanted to do a feeding frenzy to film it. So we did the usual thing. We got a whole lot of fish carcasses, dropped them on the bottom, and very soon these whaler sharks came in. Not big ones, quite, you know, 4 or 5 foot, but there were dozens of them. In fact, we counted about 40. And these whalers were going in and out around us, almost between our legs, eating up this food. There was a certain amount of danger because, you know, to meet one shark or be bitten by one shark is bad enough. But with 40 sharks, you know, it really multiplies the risk.
That's a lot of sharks. I'm glad I wasn't there.
All the time that we were down there, we didn't realise that just beyond our vision was this big tiger shark. He was watching us, waiting for his turn to come in.
Ben Cropp, get the smokies, quick.
What's the matter?
3 big tigers down there.
I don't know which one's yours.
And he didn't come in until we actually stopped filming the whalers. Well, Wally, in those days, was still mad keen on shark hunting, so he quickly grabbed 303 head, screwed it on, jumped back in the water. It just came straight up at him. I mean, it probably was an attack. And Wally met it head on, hit it with the 303, and the shark just kept coming in a headlong rush, hit the surface, but was mortally wounded. Then a few years ago, I came across 200 sharks, big sharks, and they were feeding on this massive black pilchards off Cape Cuvier in Western Australia. I've never seen anything like it, these sharks just swimming in and out of these pilchards and rushing through and trying to grab the food. It was the greatest feeding frenzy that I'd ever witnessed. So I decided, well, I better get down amongst them and try and film them underwater. But when I got down there, it was just too dangerous, far too dangerous to get in the water. So I just used the simple method of putting the camera in over the dinghy, and I got wonderful shots. I got probably the same as if I was swimming and kept all my limbs intact. And then after that, in came 2 whales, bride's whales, and they would come in and roll over and open their cavernous mouth and just swallow, you know, a ton of pilchards. It was the most awesome feeding sight that I've ever witnessed.
Wobbegong sharks are an endangered species, and also they're very important protectors of rock lobsters. These sharks eat the octopus that prey on the lobster. Catching a tow on a non-aggressive shark was acceptable in the 1960s, but not today. A young Eva Cropp found it was fun playing with this leopard shark about 1967 off Tweed Heads. Crusher plates for teeth. A little leopard in captivity at Marineland has an octopus for lunch. There are few underwater experiences that equal a close encounter with this giant. Ben's sons joined Dad's expedition to Western Australia's Ningaloo Reef to swim with the plankton-eating whale sharks. Dean and Adam feel the rush of adrenaline when the great shark opens its cavernous mouth and rises to meet them. Ben Cropp's earliest inspirations came from his fascination with the sea and the drive of a young man with a quest for knowledge in what was then an unknown realm. An early form of professional diving was to capture sharks alive with a spear gun. This now primitive technique actually worked very well. Ben places his spear in the dorsal fin of a grey nurse shark he wants alive for marine land on the Gold Coast. A grey nurse will give birth to a pair of pups, but often the first shark to develop will cannibalise the other before birth. Marine land was a landmark attraction on the Gold Coast, and Ben was one of the original owners. Grey nurse sharks adapt well in captivity. Being twilight and nocturnal hunters, they have a docile nature by day. Eva Cropp wouldn't attempt this type of contact with the same shark in the wild. At dinner parties, Ben's mango daiquiris are a specialty.
Your favourite, Louise? Okay.
Ben still loves to spearfish, and today's catch is on the menu. His own recipe for battered fish on the barbie is simply delicious. November 16, 1977. Ben's expedition in search of the famous Pandora made Australia's maritime discovery of the century. Lost since 1791 on the far northern section of the Great Barrier Reef, the Pandora was returning to England with some of the captured mutineers of Captain Bligh's bounty. Dean and Adam's mother, Lynn Cropp, and Wally Gibbons are in the process of salvaging the large earthenware jar. This British naval ship is a significant time capsule of history and the most important maritime archaeological discovery in Australia. The salvaged relics now fill an entire museum in Townsville.
It'll hold a bit of water too. I suppose it'll be about, what, 30 gallons, maybe? TMF. I wonder what TMF stands for. Some sort of a sign at the top. Like it made the cast, I guess.
In what has become a 40-year quest involving all of Australia's vast coastline, Ben has now found more than 100 sunken ships. Rising compressed air rapidly expands through this tube. This creates an underwater vacuum cleaner. Sand is removed to reveal whatever treasures lie hidden below. An antique brass lamp is in great condition despite a century in the sea. A consignment of brass alarm clocks also survive well in the depths. The non-government sponsored salvage of any shipwreck in Australian waters more than 75 years old is now forbidden. Divers are still allowed to explore the wrecks, but relics must remain untouched.
That's the sperm whale oil.
Yeah, that's a shame.
That's what started off all the sperm whales being slaughtered. This one's in very good nick. October 21, 1884. That dates the wreck.
For scuba divers worldwide, their most popular shipwreck is off Cape Bowling Green, just south of Townsville. Here, the 3,500-ton steamship Yongala disappeared during a cyclone back in 1911 with all 137 hands on board. There were no survivors. few had dived the wreck since it was discovered. Then, in 1977, Ben, Lynn and Wally began a salvage to establish what was to become Ben Cropp's Shipwreck Museum in Port Douglas. On the first deep penetration of the wreck, Lynn locates a storeroom of spare brass lanterns which are nicely preserved.
Ben, of all the shipwrecks you've taken me to, the Yongala's the one I enjoyed the most.
Well, we certainly took a lot of stuff off her in the early days. We can't do that anymore.
Years of marine growth and a partial collapse of the steel structure make Wally's discovery of the Yongala Bell even more significant. Any similar future discoveries to equal this seem certain to come from the technically difficult realm of very deep diving.
It's heavy. I'll say it's heavy. I think I've solved the mystery of why it sunk. All the portholes on the wreck are open. Some of them are closed, but they haven't been dogged down.
Oh, that's right. That other one was closed, but it wasn't there.
This means probably when the cyclone hit it, the portholes being open, she's got into a heavy seaway and all the water's come in through the portholes and she's found it.
Yeah, well, if she heeled over to the wind in the cyclone and all the water poured in one side, she'd go down. Because she's laying on the side, too.
That's right.
She's gone down like that.
Yeah, well, this could be the answer to the mystery.
Yeah, well, might clean it up. It's a good little relic somewhere.
Cracked, eh?
Look at this. Adelaide Steamship Company.
Yeah.
Isn't that good?
Oh, but you even got their own brand name on them.
Yeah.
Well,
How'd you like to eat your tea off this tonight?
I think we'd have to give them a wash first.
The ultimate find, the ship's bell.
Yes, that, eh?
The importance of the Yongala's relics occupy a large section of Ben's Shipwreck Museum.
It's looking pretty good now. This cannon has been sitting for the last 10 months in the special treatment bath. But now all I've got to do is dry it out in the sun and give it a couple of coats of epoxy varnish. But the sea has treated this cannon pretty harshly whilst it's been on the reef. It's full of corroded pockmarks, but it is fully preserved, and soon it will be on display in my shipwreck museum. Now, relics like this are a time capsule of our past, and that's why I find wreck hunting such a rewarding adventure.
Ben Cropp's Shipwreck Museum was established in 1980 and is now relocated in Cairns. The museum is operated by the local Maritime Archaeological Association, who now care for a lifetime's work of collecting these historic treasures of the Australian sea.
You know, John, bureaucracy's really dampened my enthusiasm for going out these days and search for sunken ships. The government now has regulated that any shipwreck over 75 years old is deemed to be historic. You can't touch it. And yet there's hundreds of shipwrecks out there, even yet to be discovered, that are not historic. They're just shipwrecks. And if you find a wreck and you don't report it, that's a crime.
Really?
Yes. And but worst of all is if you take a relic off it, disturb the shipwreck, even if it's for my museum, that's a big crime. And you can go to jail, or you can pay a horrendous fine for it.
For making a discovery?
Yeah, well, if you make a discovery and do nothing else, that's all right. But the moment you touch things or take something out of there, that becomes a crime. And it's really curbed my enthusiasm, and I do miss those old days of discovery and salvage.
A passion that's never been dampened is Ben's love of diving the Great Barrier Reef. His base at Port Douglas is right on the doorstep of the greatest coral wonderland in the world. This is Ben's realm.
Well, Lynn Roberts, you're a very graceful diver. How did you get into diving?
It was while I was filming my first film with Ben in Vanuatu. I did a dive course on the President Coolidge, and that's a massive, spectacular shipwreck, and it's the best in the world. And it was around the time when Ben received his Order of Australia.
Ah, could we see the medal by any chance?
Love to show you.
The Order of Australia, a great honour and recognition for services to marine conservation and wildlife documentaries. Another big achievement for Ben, with the help of Valerie Taylor and the Sydney media, was to convince the government to protect the colony of performing potato cod at the now famous Cod Hole. The battle to save the coast from overdevelopment and to protect existing mangroves was far from easy. Ben lost many battles at first, before the tide turned in favour of the environmentalists. The deadly box jellyfish. While testing an Aboriginal cure for its sting, the adventurer becomes a guinea pig in the name of scientific research.
I'm hurting on this arm, I'm hurting on this, only leaves the legs. It's okay, I guess the inner thigh, that's very sensitive, just whack it on there. I'm sorry that I said that, it hurts. That's a very sensitive area. Okay, take it away. Okay, try this stuff. Oh, look, there's not even any juice coming out. I remember the Aborigines rubbed it, but I don't like that because all it started doing is making any nematocysts fire again.
Is it working?
Vinegar. Come on. Bit more. Oh, look at the redness there.
That's better?
Forget about this one. I'll stay with vinegar. I'm going to lie down. This is the Great Barrier Reef. Wonderful, beautiful, and alive. But soon it may well be one of the few remaining live reefs around the world. Because around the world, the coral reefs are dying. Scientists predict that within 20 years, 1/3 of the world's coral reefs will be dead. And in 40 years, 2/3 dead. Some of the reefs are dead already. And the causes are many, but mostly it's man's interference with nature.
Ben travelled the world to assess the disaster and meet with leading authorities.
Jamaica, Haiti, Dominican Republic, they're in really bad state. People are overusing reefs and exploiting them too heavily. There's too much stress on coral reefs by human populations.
Actually, a few years ago, the coral around here are very, very good. But when we have development, particularly tourist development, and that causes a lot of deterioration to the reef.
Grecian used to be a vast coral gardens from one end to the other. Beautiful, beautiful elkhorn coral, particularly on the southern end of Grecian rocks. Now there today, the elkhorn coral is still there, but it's skeletons. It's all dead and taken over by algae.
The latest of many awards is a tribute to 50 years of diving.
Ben Cropp here. Yes, I need 20 rolls of...
Ben's busy organising yet another filming expedition, a television series up north. Adam Cropp and Pete West load food for sharks. Lynn and Tuffy are regular crew. Dean is Ben's elder son. Both the Cropp boys share their dad's love for the sea. Ben is multi-talented, a film producer, director and cameraman, astute to include his family in adventures with broad appeal. That wharf is Ben's old home. He lived there for 20 years. The quest this time, tiger sharks, 15 nautical miles off Port Douglas.
Too many bommies there, Adam. I can't get through here.
There's 3 bommies out here.
Yeah, I'll get around to the left. Very shallow, 2 metres. Along the reef, isn't it? Like a labyrinth.
The passage into Bat Reef Lagoon is a treacherous maze of coral outcrops.
This looks good. Nice big sandy area. We can see the sharks from a long way away. I think we'll drop anchor. Drift a fair way out. Now, this is great, this pole camera. You know, we have an old saying, there's bold divers, there's old divers, but there's no old, bold divers. And when I was young like you, I used to do silly things with sharks. As you get older, you get more cautious. You still get the same shots, but when things get nasty, I take this pole camera. I use that, and I won't get bitten.
In tropical waters, tiger sharks are known to come into very shallow water day and night, looking for sleeping rays and turtles. It's now a matter of watch and wait.
Can you load this, please?
Yep.
We might need it.
Okay. Do you want the red filter?
No. We're going to stay in the shallows.
Adam is following in the footsteps of his dad and is already an accomplished cameraman and commercial diver.
The camera's ready, Dad.
2 hours later, low tide. A solitary shark and its shadow appears.
Yes, you're excited, Tough. We're going to get a big shark soon. Roll, Adam. Rolling. Dean, just pull it in slowly. Pull it in just a little bit. Oh, this is great, Adam. Beautiful shark.
Tawny sharks are not dangerous, but their feeding activity will send signals to the tigers that food is available. The pole camera is unobtrusive, unlike a diver with a camera. Now there are 2 tawnies.
Come on, tawnies. Go for it. Boy, he's shooting up. All the pilot fish are in moorings around it.
Dad, there's a lemon coming in over here.
Get some more bait.
I'll put together another one. He's left one on the bottom. See, over there. You want to jump in and get it?
Fix her up again?
I can see a shark there, Ben.
Is it dark?
Yeah, he's dark.
About how long?
Oh, he's about 3 metres.
Okay, it must be a tiger. Get ready, Dean. Just ease it in. Yeah, right up behind. Slowly, bring it in. Well, the tiger took it all. We'll have to try again tomorrow.
What about a night dive, Dad?
No way, Adam. Just too many tigers out here. Just too dangerous. They come in at this time of the night in the shallows to feed. You know, about 30 years ago when I was young and silly, we went down and fed sharks at night, took lamps down. It worked fine at first. I mean, spooky, really spooky. The sharks came up, took the fish from us, and we thought, wow, this is good. So we came back up and got more fish, and we got a really big fish, and thought, okay, this is going to make good film. Out of the gloom came this big shark, and he came up to the fish, and just as he opened his mouth right up to grab it, the lamp blew. It was just a panic. I mean, it just went absolutely black. I had no idea where the shark was. My last vision was a metre away with his mouth open, and we just all went straight to the surface, hit the surface fast.
Oh, the lamp blew. Oh, jeez. That'll me up too.
That'll get them in. Dean, you and Adam, you know, you've been in so many of my films, and people have actually watched you grow up in each of those films.
That one just sounded like Star Wars.
Oh, there's 3 tigers now. They're all circling. He's really munching at it. Watch out! Watch out!
Do you feel that you've benefited from all this?
Yeah, absolutely. People twice my age haven't seen the things or been to the places I've been.
All I wanted to do is sit down for a rest. Move away!
Making documentaries, it's been a really, really good head start into becoming a news cameraman. I use things I've learned out here, out in the water, and shooting animals. I can put them into everyday sort of shooting life back in Sydney.
Right. And also you've got the advantage that you can do underwater for them.
Oh, I love underwater. It's the most enjoyable part of my job when I get to.
The sharks are not attracted to the bait, but Ben knows the tigers live here and often prowl the shallow lagoon. The former shark hunter knows he has to go out and find them. In today's high-tech world, Ben still follows his golden rule with underwater equipment. Keep everything as simple as possible, especially when filming sharks. Bat Reef is home to lots of large marine creatures, including big stingrays, a natural food of the tigers.
His turn. He's moved off. He's going around this way.
The tiger is about 4 metres long, cruising in water barely 2 metres deep.
Just a little to the right. Yeah, that tiger's rolling on his side and he's looking back at me as he's swimming away. He's chasing something.
Taking a calculated risk. Feeding tigers are not easily distracted once their mind is set on their prey.
I got close, but I didn't like it at all. I think I'll film the rest from the dinghy. Adam, there's some splashing. 200 metres this way. It's a tiger. He's after a turtle. He's got it by the flipper. Let's get in closer. Just a little closer. That's it. Oh, that's wild, really wild. Slow down.
Young dugong make a favourite meal when the tiger is hungry. These strange-looking air-breathing mammals are often seen on Bat Reef, but are shy and difficult to approach underwater.
Shark skulks, I'll give them a swim. Come on, Tough.
Ben feels and sees no danger. The lagoon is shallow and clear. With Adam on lookout, the shape of a shark could be seen 100 metres away.
You're not afraid of sharks, are you? He doesn't know about sharks. He thinks they're toys. You know, Dean, I've seen enormous changes in my 50 years of diving. In fact, my shark hunting exploits, I mean, the killing of those sharks, that pales into insignificance when you look at the millions and millions of sharks that are killed every year just to make shark fin soup. And all around the world, the coral reefs are dying. Countries where I've dived and there were absolutely beautiful coral reefs, now there's only 5% of that live coral left. In a way, I feel fortunate that I've lived in an era where I've been there at the beginning. I've been the first to dive or discover something. I've dived on these absolute pristine reefs. I think sadly, you know, you're never going to see what I saw 30, 40, 50 years ago. And in a way, you know, I feel that nature has lost its virginity and it's never going to come back.
Ben receives his greatest honour. At the Cayman Islands, he is inducted into the first International Scuba Divers Hall of Fame. In attendance are the world's diving greats.
It is especially fulfilling for me to welcome you to the official launch of the International Scuba Diving Hall of Fame.
Talk about success. Ben Cropp. How did Ben get there? Well, he started out as a spear fisherman. He was a champion, but one day he traded in the spear gun for camera. And this is what I find so fascinating, are these pioneers that started so long ago and are still working at their craft today. It's as though none of us want to give up what has become our passion in life. So at this time, I'd like to invite Ben to come up here and receive his.
Good day, everyone. 50 years ago, it was a very humble, quite primitive beginning. I guess my real hero was Hans Haas, which I'm very, very sorry not to see here tonight because he's a very dear friend. But go back 50 years ago, Hans was my hero. And as a 14-year-old, I wanted to be just like Hans Haas and have a girl like Lottie, go out diving. I think I went through a few Lotties in my lifetime. But I'm very, very pleased to be up here receiving an award along with people like Hans Haas and Jacques Cousteau. Thank you.
This is the swan song of Ben's extraordinary career. First the Order of Australia, and now the Hall of Fame. Some of diving legends have recently passed away. Jean-Michel, the son of Jacques Cousteau, pays tribute to the memory of his famous father. Ben Cropp's life of adventure has now passed the half-century mark. He is by far the most successful person in his field, a champion and a mentor to divers the world over. His work brings a better understanding of the mysteries of the sea. We are all richer for this, and will continue with more ocean adventures, for his underwater world of corals, shipwrecks and sharks is truly his way of life.
Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out.
G'day, Dale.
G'day, Ben. Here you go.
Good, good.
See you.
Oh, that's nice. The blister pearls.
Yeah, that's one of our ones from Broome.
See you.
How are you, Ben?
Good. I've had fun, thanks.
Yep, he's a beauty, that one. Hey, what have you been doing with yourself?
Oh, the usual, filming sharks. Good to see you.
Likewise.
Yeah. What a beautiful sunset.
Their playground, the Pacific Ocean. Lording it over such a vast kingdom, they cut an all too familiar silhouette. Their popular reputation as fierce predators is understandable. Yet what are they but common scavengers? The humble dustmen of the seas, and all too often outsmarted by their juniors. Here are sharks in their true colors. The Pacific is by far the largest body of water on the planet. Covering 70 million square miles, it accounts for half the world's ocean surface. Lost in this blue kingdom, pinpricks of land, where young seabirds are about to leave their nests for the first time. A fact not lost on life below the reef that encircles the tiny islands of the French Frigate Shoals in northwestern Hawaii. After weeks of training, black-footed albatross chicks are ready for the big day. Their parents have already left the nesting ground. Even the strong wind blowing off the lagoon can't help this one. It's fair game for the most opportunistic predator in the lagoon, the tiger shark. It's both unpredictable and extremely aggressive. Unlike other species of sharks out to sea, the tiger shark is generally a loner whose favorite hunting grounds are the shallows. Nothing like a nudge in the right direction to get airborne. It wasn't to be. The chicks will try to take off in unison, so the tiger shark only has a narrow window of opportunity for playing, feasting, and saving its awesome reputation. In the open sea, sharks and birds behave in an altogether different way. Every kind of ocean nomad is drawn by the strong winds and currents that galvanize the sea into a maelstrom of competing interests, both above and below the surface. So how are these pristine opal waters managed, or serviced if you like? Unlike the tiger shark policing the shallows alone, nomads out here work together towards a common objective, be it for defense or attack. Schools of baitfish bunch together for protection. They're being rounded up by a pod of bottlenose dolphins. The table is laid. Wait a moment, unexpected guests have shown up, and the dolphins must leave the table. Silky sharks. They've been watching the dolphins work from a distance, their vision finely attuned to the blue gloom because of special pigments in their eyes. The dolphins sensibly wait for a second sitting, which they'll share with others on the surface. Gannets and brown petrels enjoy a bird's eye view, but their patience is wearing thin. Now that the waters have been tested, a full aerial bombardment is underway. These feathered torpedoes must climb to 10 meters before executing their spectacular sorties. This extraordinary assault by shark and bird against the bewildered baitfish is relentless. Having taken the lion's share, the silky sharks withdraw as willfully as they came. It's a moment of respite for the baitfish. But not for long. Yellowfin tuna form a third front, wave after wave of them. This is predation on a massive scale. The remaining baitfish have one last card to play. They swarm individual silky sharks, not for revenge, but for protection against the tuna. The baitfish face a dilemma. Should they jump ship from shark to tuna? The silence of this predatory world speaks for itself. There are areas of the Pacific where natural predators turn to scavenging for a living. The main island in the archipelago of New Caledonia is a sliver of land in the South Pacific, 250 miles long and 30 wide. Smaller islands bathe in the crystal clear waters of a tropical lagoon, the largest lagoon in the world, 9,000 square miles. It's a paradise meticulously tended by those who inhabit it. No paradise is one without sacrifice. Those who share it share off each other too. Everywhere life thrives, death will reap a just reward. The lagoon creates waste and must dispose of it. One day, the dead and the wounded will be mopped up by scavengers, the dustmen of the seas. The lagoon is not impenetrable. Cracks are opened up in this vast ring of coral by the relentless pounding of the ocean. The white-tip reef shark is an expert dam buster. A red snapper snared in a net. The shark homes in on the distress signals as the snapper emits a faint electrical charge even when it's motionless. Literally a millionth of a volt is enough to stimulate sensory organs called ampullae of Lorenzini on the shark's snout. In effect, the injured and the weak sign their own death warrant. A grey reef shark approaches the industrious whitetips, keen to join Operation Cleanup. Its impressive size does not earn it the automatic right to muscle in. This is a private party for whitetips only. Sharks themselves also run the risk of getting caught in nets, particularly those more used to inhabiting the open sea. But white-tip reef sharks are equipped with 2 rows of teeth. The uppers are triangulated and jagged, the lower row narrow and sharp. A perfect combination for cutting and tearing their way out of trouble. Damaged teeth will be replaced in 18 days, and they'll grow about 20,000 new teeth in the course of their lives. As long as white-tip reef shark move freely and hunt in packs, neither nets nor other sharks will stop them in their mission to clean up the lagoon of injured and weak fish. Inadvertently, the sharks will even help dismantle these destructive nets. This snapper might count itself lucky. If only it could hide its distress. The more it struggles to stay afloat, the stronger the signal. Thanks to the shark's natural radar and its capacity to detect vibrations from far, the area is cleared. Pockets of coral and limestone caves do offer some insulation from this radar, which it must be said is only used at short range. But what is this one after? A swimming wrasse, which emits long-range vibrations. White tips will go to great lengths to satisfy their appetite. Or is it just curiosity? After all, they need only feed every other day, and a mere 3% of their body weight is reckoned a good enough meal. Some fetch up at the mouth of a cave through a break in the reef, a good place for an ambush. Unlike their cousins in the open water, white tips don't need to be on the move to breathe. They can lie in wait for their prey by using muscular contractions to pump water through their gills. These males aren't hungry for food, but sex. They're waiting for a female. She's hemmed in on all sides by competing males, but the paramour must fend off other excited rivals. The lovemaking will last about 5 minutes, during which time the suitor must fend off other rivals drawn into the scene by the vibrations and electrical impulses radiating from the courtship. The female probably got off lightly. This one is unlikely to survive. Her blood involuntarily signals her vulnerable condition to every pilferer in the area, including the biggest fish in the world, the whale shark. It's 15 meters long and quite harmless. Like real whales, the whale shark is a filterer, using its cavernous jaws to hoover up plankton and other small fry in its path. It too is a most efficient cleaner, though quite incapable of cleaning up a dying shark. Commotion, blood, electricity. The telltale distress signals radiate loud and clear. This silver tip has homed in from the bottom of the pass. A welcoming committee is awaiting. The red snappers are back. And so are the grey reef sharks. These passing bottlenose dolphins and their calves steer clear of the danger. A silvertip this size is also a potential threat to baby dolphins. The shark must be seen off. Indeed, the dolphins take it in turns to go up to the surface to breathe. The tactic is ingenious. The dolphins spiral around the silvertip to force him down, out of harm's way. Reinforcements are called in to increase the pressure. It's now 5 against 1, and the silvertip finally gets the point. The dolphins can't disguise their delight. It's time to surface and celebrate. The path through the reef is now clear, and the dolphins are free to enter the shallows and explore the waters around the sandy islands. As spring turns to summer in the southern hemisphere, a time-honored pilgrimage is about to wash up on these shores. Same time, same place. A green turtle, scarred by a long journey. The healthy ones will perpetuate the species as they have done for 15 million years. An annual rendezvous for mating and for the females to lay eggs. The event is also on the calendar of the black-tipped shark. At high tide, it watches greedily as the females prepare to beach. The solitary turtles have crossed the Pacific with pinpoint accuracy, thanks, it is thought, to some magnetic minerals in their brain, which tap into the Earth's magnetic fields for direction. The tide fills natural pools around the beach rock, allowing the sharks to get close to shore. A female, all 80 pounds of her, hauls her eggs far from the high water mark, more than a kilometre inland. The sharks know the routine. They'll patrol the pools until the tide flushes them out again. The turtles have 12 hours to dig and fill their nests before catching the next high tide out. As the tide goes out, sand crabs also dig in for a night of hunting. As night falls, blacktips still brush the shoreline. Grey reef sharks patrol further out at sea. A blockade is on. With the tide now low, some turtles have finished laying their eggs. A blanket of sand will keep them at a constant temperature and hide them from predators during a 2-month period of incubation. The females now begin the arduous return journey. By morning, most have left on the high tide. Those that have missed it must face a punishing wall of exposed coral under the baking sun, all after an exhausting night's work. It's the end of the road for this one. Her carcass now reeks of rich oils and torn flesh. On cue, grey reefs and blacktips follow their noses. To locate dead prey, these scavengers are guided by their sense of smell. Reclusive hermit crabs are left to polish the silver. By midsummer, the dry season has set in on the main island of New Caledonia. A mountain range on the leeward coast creates long periods of drought. It's home to tens of thousands of wild deer, who now look elsewhere for green pasture. Some head for the mangroves. Many will leave the island altogether and venture across the bay in search of food on other islands. Their narrow hooves are ill-suited for swimming. Hopefully, the natural buoyancy of their paunch will keep them afloat. The deer can average 2 knots over long distances simply by repeating the same movements they use on land. Across the lagoon in any direction lie dozens of tiny, uninhabited islands. They're thick with grasses and foliage, supplied all year round by soft water trapped in the limestone subsoil. The crossing has been worthwhile, even if some of the deer have struggled 2 miles from the mainland to find new feeding grounds. They'll spend the entire summer island hopping to survive the drought. Every day brings new arrivals. This kid is exhausted, but at least he's made it. Many die in midstream. Waste to be disposed of by the dustmen of the seas. A mere 1 part blood to 100 million parts water is enough to trigger a frenzy. By the end of the summer, the last of the nesting turtles are leaving the islands. Hundreds of eggs are ready to hatch. Instinctively, the baby turtles head for the pool. There's no scent of blood this time. Here, the blacktips must use their eyes if their patience is to be rewarded. This is a problem because they're short-sighted and their movements are cramped by the shallow waters. In the event, the sharks are joined by other, faster and more efficient predators. Giant trevally, more commonly known as jack. Pound for pound, it's the strongest fish in the world, sharks included. And it's perfectly suited to the crystal clear and well-oxygenated shallows. This is the proof. By contrast, it takes two myopic and clumsy blacktips to hunt down a single baby turtle. Those which survive the blockade to the open sea must now contend with predators from the sky. What with these terns, sharks and the jacks, it's little wonder that out of 100 eggs, only one turtle will survive to adulthood. If this is one of them, it will be back in 15 years to mate or lay eggs. The scavengers will make a point of being there too. For the most part, life about the lagoon is entirely predictable. Here is a magnificent exception. An 18-meter blue whale, the largest animal ever to roam the planet. At the end of the southern summer, this male should be feeding on krill in the Antarctic. But it's lost its way and mysteriously fetched up in the lagoon. Never has this been seen before in New Caledonia. Stretch marks are signs of severe undernourishment. If the lagoon can't satisfy its needs, perhaps it can satisfy others. 40 tons of flesh emit rapid, low-frequency sound waves. The tiger shark has picked up the signal from several miles away as the whale reaches the bottom of the bay, exhausted and cornered. In the end, there is only one killer. And what a treat. Rare indeed for this tiger shark to have homed in on so much red meat. It has pushed itself to the limit and has swallowed 1/10 of its own body weight. Other sharks were probably too far off in the lagoon to make it in time. But the blue whale is going no further. Day after day, the whale's corpse will radiate a gigantic oily path. Sharks and their stereoscopic sense of smell will simply follow this stairway to heaven. This treasure of protein has been bagged by a whole pack of tigers, and they won't let any other species of shark near it. Only a few harmless remoras are tolerated. The final cleanup is underway. It has taken a week and counting to clear all 18 tons of meat. What little evidence is left of the blue whale will filter through passes in the lagoon for the final clean in the dark abyss of the open sea. About 85% of the Pacific is more than a mile deep. Plenty of room for other more passive scavengers, waiting in the dark and cold and under colossal pressure for the pickings left by their peers on the surface. Down here, life exists without oxygen. Deep-sea hydrothermal vents sustain an oasis of life. Located on the side of a fault between two tectonic plates, New Caledonia is effectively a mountain in the ocean. These gigantic fractures in the crust belch gases through seafloor chimneys. In this anaerobic and unstable underworld, life is organized around methane and hydrogen sulfide, highly toxic on land, but life-sustaining in the abyss. At the bottom of the evolutionary pile in this ecosystem is the tube worm. It has no mouth, no digestive tract, and no anus. Everything is passed through its plumes. The thermal vents superheat the water to 350 degrees Celsius. But at depths of 3,000 meters, the water does not boil. The pressure's too great. So blind shrimps are free to scrape the vents for minerals and bacteria. It's remarkable how marine life can adapt to this hell. Away from the vents, notably at the foot of the New Caledonian Lagoon, there is nothing. Life in these abyssal deserts depends essentially on what sinks from the surface. When scavengers of the dark reach their objective, relationships can be extremely long-lasting. Giant crabs will take several years to pick a whale carcass clean. Difficult to be spotted in this dark world, unless, like some squid, you are equipped with photophores, a sort of light-producing organ. They use them to attract prey or to seduce sexual partners. But these luminous cells can also be seen on dying animals. Others must grope their way around the ocean floor in their search for organic matter, dead or alive. It's a task made easier for the bird-beaked dogfish, and, like its cousins from the lagoon, its stereoscopic sense of smell. Other scavengers must wait for the currents to carry food to them, like this tripod fish. They can also filter organic particles, like this swimming sea cucumber and these crinoids. The vampire squid uses sensory cilia to detect what's edible in the ocean swells. And what do we have here? The most prized dish in the abyss, a whole whale. It's covered with hagfish. These living fossils have been around for 5 million years, long before any other fish. They're vertebrates with no eyes, no skeleton, no scales, not even a mouth. They do have an external circle of teeth and a strong sense of smell. But 1 million hagfish can't match this. The Pacific sleeper shark. Indolent and sluggish by nature, but very greedy. 7 meters long and weighing 2 tons, it's the largest of all deep-water fish, and it has an insatiable desire to keep a 300-litre stomach comfortably full. Most life around the lagoon in New Caledonia ends up in the abyss. Even the oceanic white-tipped sharks are destined to become a meal for the galatite crabs. One dustman feeds off another. A fitting end for the scavengers of the seas.
The tiger shark, legendary thug of the sea, is responsible for the majority of shark attacks in tropical waters around the world. Perhaps the most horrific of tiger attacks occurred in July 1983 off Townsville in Australia, when Ray Boundy watched in horror as a 4-metre tiger attacked and killed his 2 crew members after their trawler capsized and sank.
Later we got washed off. We all got washed into the water by a bit of slop and the surfboard and bits of foam, and the life ring were about 5 feet away from us. And as you happened many times before, we made a quick dash so to try and get back to him and get out of the water, and Dennis just yelled, said it had a hold of his bloody leg, and first off I didn't know sort of what to say, and I just yelled at him, you know, to kick it as hard as he could with the other leg, and he kicked at it and kicked at it and kicked at it, and he was still on the surface of the water, and then he disappeared about 2 feet below the water. I could still see his hands above the water and trying to pull himself back up sort of thing, and still kicking at it with the other feet. And when he came back up, he just said to me, you know, it's calm as when I'm talking to you, you know, it's taking me freaking leg off. I just couldn't believe it, you know. He just said, you and Lindy Bolt. He said, get the bloody hell out of here. And I sort of hesitated, and I didn't want to leave him, but I knew there was absolutely nothing else I could do. I think he knew then he had no chance. And we just turned around and swam about 5 strokes back the other way, back into the tide, and I grabbed the life ring and the other bit of foam and just swam as hard as I could, dragging the bits of foam, and we got about 20 feet away before it attacked him again. Just kept circling us and haunting us, and come darting in towards us, and then turn off and go around the other side and go underneath us, and you know, did that for about an hour before it took Lindy eventually.
The tiger took Linda Horton in one quick lunge. It was a nightmare for Ray. He waited his turn to die. The tiger kept circling. In the morning, Ray found he was close to a coral reef, and the waves swept him over the reef into safe waters. Shark haters are understandable, and the adrenaline rush of catching a big tiger shark. A smaller whaler shark takes the next bait. When Rick Burnup tries to retrieve the hook and give the whaler its freedom, the thrashing shark scores a bite. Rick feels faint at the sight of his own blood. A big tiger moves in. The whaler is still hooked. There's blood in the water, mostly Rick's, and the tiger picks up the scent. It's awesome to watch a creature eat its own kind. Various sensors play important roles. Sharks have the highest known electrical sensitivity in the animal kingdom. Lateral line canals and sensitive electroreceptors in the head pick up the slightest vibration some distance away. Couple that with a powerful body and crushing jaws, and a turtle has no chance. The eye goes white. That's a tough, movable membrane closing over the eye during feeding to protect it from damage. The skin is like flexible armour, composed of thousands of scale-like tentacles. When mating, the male inserts one clasper into the genital opening to guide the sperm. The horror of shark attack has been dramatised since humans first entered the ocean. The highest risk area for tiger attacks is northern Australia, with Florida and Hawaii next. A hungry tiger became involved in a bizarre murder mystery. On Anzac Day, 1935, a huge tiger shark was put on display at the Sydney Aquarium. Much to the horror of the spectators, the shark regurgitated a human arm. The arm had a distinct tattoo of two boxes facing up to each other, which allowed police to identify the arm as coming from a hood named James Smith. His accomplice, Patrick Brady, was arrested and charged with Smith's murder. The police prime witness was a boat builder, Reginald Holmes. But the night before the court inquiry, Holmes was shot dead. Brady was acquitted because his lawyers argued that an arm did not constitute a body, and that James Smith, minus his arm, could still be alive. So the shark arm murder became the perfect crime, with the help of a hungry tiger shark. Along the ribbon reefs on Australia's Great Barrier Reef, I follow a game boat. I've learnt that black marlin fishing and tiger shark appearance go hand in hand. Just when the marlin is about to be tagged and released, a tiger falls upon the helpless, exhausted fish. While most captures are tagged and released, this huge black marlin is a potential record breaker and had to die to be weighed. We take the carcass back to my vessel as burley for tiger sharks. The oily flesh sends out an irresistible scent. We wait 30 minutes for the first tiger to appear, and it is soon followed by 9 more. They are surprisingly cautious at first, until the largest, 4 meters long, takes the first bite. Smaller whaler sharks quickly disperse. The king has arrived, and the whalers are relegated to circle underneath for scraps drifting down. I notice a distinct pecking order in the tigers. They take turns to feed, but hang back when the largest moves in. She has more turns. What a feeding machine. The teeth function like a saw. The jaw twists from side to side like a cookie cutter, neatly excising a large chunk of flesh. Pacific Islanders understandably have a long cultural link with ocean creatures and view sharks from a variety of perspectives. Sharks play central roles in religion, folklore, culture and fishing techniques. Islanders grow up with sharks and while recognising their danger have attitudes toward them quite different to us. Even so, there have been 136 recorded attacks. Solomon Islanders believe that the bodies of tiger sharks are inhabited by the ghosts of the departed. Such blood brothers become legendary sharks. The natives worship these sharks and believe they will not harm them. Tangali is one such legendary shark, and the natives of Togo village praise him in song. Tangali will protect us, they say. We never fish for shark. We are worshipping our old people. It is said that old Harry Jagaloo can actually call in his sacred shark, Gaetani. Harry chews betel nut to stimulate the magic he is about to perform. Waving special leaves, he calls for the shark to come to him. A shark does indeed come to the beach, but it's a small one, not the tiger Gaetani. Harry needs to send a more powerful message. Harry told me, if the canoe rocks, the shark will come. I've had a lifetime of experience with sharks, but never before seen anything like this. Watching old Harry Jagaloo, I wonder how one separates fact from fiction. It seems these islanders share a special relationship with the tiger shark, a vital faith to enable them to harvest from the sea. Trobriand Islanders treat the shark very differently. They hunt the tiger shark. The leaves believed to have magical properties are taken by the hunters for a special purpose. The magic leaves are rubbed over everything: the canoe, their bodies, the line and the bait. They believe this ritual will protect the hunters and ensure good fishing. An ingenious rattle is used to attract the shark. It's made of coconut shells cut in half. The hunters know that the clackety-clack vibrations of the shells will draw the shark to the canoe, and then sight and smell will lead it to the bait. To the Solomon Islanders, the tiger shark is a god. To the Trobriand Islanders, it's food. Rain Island is a beachhead for turtles, the largest green turtle rookery in the world. Laying at the northern end of the Great Barrier Reef, it is also an important nesting site for seabirds. Hundreds of rotting carcasses and bleached bones form a graveyard of turtles. Some became disorientated and died of heat exhaustion. This one laid her eggs in the blistering heat of the day and died from dehydration before she reached the water. Now the tide laps the carcass and drifts it away for a sea burial. But it's not to be. It is the local tiger shark's daily routine to swim in close to the island in search of a meal in the late afternoon. I regularly time their appearance around 3 p.m. At Rain Island, I witnessed an extraordinary event that occurs frequently enough to imprint on the local shark's brains. A sudden storm darkens and cools the sand, and the waiting hatchlings, thinking it is night, emerge from the sand. Several sharks are already waiting in the shallows. They know precisely what to expect, unlike the innocent baby turtles. Some still survive in spite of nature's sinister setup. The sun takes a terrible toll. It's over 50 degrees Celsius and no shade. In just one night, 14,000 turtles came up to lay. In one season, we counted 680 that died. A movement catches my eye. How long has she lain here, upside down, after tumbling over the beach rock ledge? Now comes the exhausting task of hauling her to the water. Freedom at last, but not quite. An expectant male is waiting for her. Even worse, it's after 3 p.m. and out of the deep comes a tiger on the prowl. The amorous male doesn't want to give up. He sees the tiger, but the female is too slow, too exhausted. As the tiger approaches, it tilts its head back so the lower jaw makes contact first. The upper jaw then crunches down with a biting force of 3 tons per square centimetre. That's 20 bone-crushing tonne per square inch. This is my microlight, a trike we call it. I often use it for aerial surveillance, for collecting data on dugong, turtle, crocodile and tiger shark numbers. I love this flying by the seat of my pants. A tiger shark just 200 metres offshore and 5 kilometres from a popular tourist resort. It's chasing a dugong. My camera captures the dugong's evasive tactic. It's twisting in a circle, stirring up a sand cloud to disguise its retreat. The dugong must slow and surface to breathe. The tiger is relentless. The tiger shark reaches a length of 5.5 metres. 4 metres is an average large one at an age of about 20 years. While its favourite diet is sea turtle, stingrays are easier to catch. Bat Reef off Port Douglas is our base for tiger shark research. I anchor my vessel over a very shallow sandy patch where stingrays and turtles frequent.
That one? Yep. Another one? Yeah.
A stingray is used as bait and plenty of abattoir blood to go with it.
Blood's pretty thick.
Yeah, we'll get this trail happening for a couple of hours. See what comes in.
Well, I'm not tried this rattle. This might attract them.
Yeah, gotta be a bit patient.
Both my sons, Dean and Adam, assist marine biologist Benjamin Kahn. A blood slick is vital. We expect it to drift for an hour before a tiger prowling the shallows picks up the trail. Suckerfish arrive promptly. We wonder where their host is. With a long wait ahead and nothing much to do, Dean has sport with the remoras. Shane Down is our other crew member, a real expert on tiger sharks who swapped hunting for research. The wait proves longer than expected. It seems too idyllic, too shallow for tiger country, but Shane tells us all to be patient and prepared.
Piece of stainless rod, and I just cut a slit in the top, and you slip the tag over there, tag back, put a rubber band over the end. So you can just shoot that into the shark.
The tiger sharks.
And
Fabulous.
yeah, this will curve round, and it'll stay in.
Yeah.
Exactly what are the tags for?
Well, these tags are made in New South Wales. It's for the Fisheries Research Institute. And what Shane and I are trying to do out here is basically tag the tiger sharks, so we get a really good feeling about how many sharks there is in these areas, top predators, and what sort of range they're spanning. You know, they're coming in very quickly, or it takes us hours to get them around. So we're getting a really good feel of how many sharks are out here.
Our first shark, not a tiger, a tawny shark, a harmless, clumsy creature, but quite photogenic. Two tawnies are courting right behind the boat. This is about as nasty as a tawny can get. The bite is small, the teeth really grinders for crushing shellfish. They suck when they bite. Remora and pilotfish swarm around them. Notice the pig eye and the whiskers on the top jaw. Now there are four, so gregarious, and a wonderful interlude while we wait for the tigers. I love their curiosity for our cameras and the way they suck at the lens. The tawny refuses to let go of this fish. It's much too big to go down its throat. Shane knows the right time to play with a shark, when it literally has its mouth full. The ray bait has apparently been forgotten, but not by the little snails. They'll need a lot of help from their friends to eat this giant. The hours roll on, and still no tiger. At last, we breathe a sigh of relief and move to our stations. It looks like a 4-metre female. She's wary, and we patiently wait for her to grab the bait. Tagging a tiger is not easy. We must lure the shark right up to the back of the boat. An impatient pull on the line can spook the shark away.
And here it comes down low.
Shane patiently waits till the shark locks onto the bait, and then smoothly hauls the bait in so the shark is unaware it's coming in with the flow. Perfect shot.
That was fabulous, right on the edge here. In the stripe, part of the body. Oh, easy to see. Yeah, straight out, easy to see.
A second tiger arrives immediately after the first one leaves. The pecking order probably dictated it must stay out wide. This one doesn't waste any time and catches Benjamin unprepared.
Leave me the rope.
Oh, come on, Tag.
Come on, sweetie. Come on. Right.
Right in the face.
And another one here comes down.
Right in here as well. But I couldn't see it very clear because it was all over the duckworth. It was just all over the place.
I was in there just before on the last one, and as it took off, it slapped me in the face when Benjamin tagged it.
Yeah,
And then this next one, as it went underneath the boat, it touched my foot, and that's why I got up so quick.
I was watching from upstairs. Here he comes now.
Slowly pull it.
Come on, mate. Get past from that.
Let it go. Keep slowly pulling it. Yeah, that's it. All right, cool. You got it. Keep going, keep going. Woo! Feel the pressure, keep going. You got it. In. Pull him in. Come on. What's that yellow thing sticking out the back of its head?
You're crazy, Shane. Remember, wait until the shark has its mouth full. I'll give Shane credit for courage. Shane saw an old tag in the tiger's head, but it's moving away. They opt to chase the shark and put a fresh tag in.
Hi Dean, could you grab me a tag please?
Yep, sure.
Say with the tiger sharks that we've been studying for the last couple of months, we've seen the same individuals a couple of times now, and according to those recaptures, there's about 12 to 18 tigers in this area,
right?
Mainly females. Now the question is, of course, how big is their home range, and hopefully we can set a bit of light on that question when we start tagging them. Might be this big reef system here, or perhaps larger than that even.
Oh yeah, that'll be good. Yeah, see where they go.
Yeah, track them for a couple of days and basically find out what sort of movement patterns they have.
Yeah.
Yeah, Shane, this is the transducer, the underwater pinger from Canada. So we'll rig it up and see how it all works. Do a proof session on it in the dry. Yep. And it's pinging at the moment. They've connected it, soldered it all up. So it should be ready to go by now. We'll see how it works.
What sort of a radius has it got on it?
Close to 4 nautical miles, but it depends a lot on your reef topography, I would guess.
Yeah.
And yes,
interesting, isn't it?
all right, here we go. Shane and I have prepared the pinger and hydrophone setup. What we'd like you to do is take this away 200 meters initially, hanging it over the side, 400 meters and then 800 meters. And we'll pick up the transmission and get a good idea of the range of this pinger.
Okay.
So that would be nice if you could just cruise over there and give me a sign when it's in the water.
Okay, Joe.
If you can put him in the water there and we'll give it a try,
Roger that, it's in the water now.
It is in the water.
Okay, thank you very much. Stand by for a few moments.
How's that going?
Okay guys, that worked out really well. We're getting a really good signal there. If you could go another couple of 100 metres out.
And we'll try it again.
Alright, let's go. Alright, we're in position and the thing's in the water, so are you getting reading?
Okay guys, can you drop it a little bit deep in the water for us and we'll give it another try there.
Are you getting reading?
And yeah, we're getting a fairly good reading at that. That is quite good. It's great, Ever.
Oh, that's good.
We need more bait. The whole operation starts over again, this time with a scientific goal to track the natural movements of a tiger shark. The big cobia Shane caught is an excellent oily burley. Of course, the tawny shark arrives first. A newcomer, much more dangerous than the tawny, a lemon shark. It's an active large shark that hunts fish and rays. Awesome teeth. I'm leaning right over with my underwater camera, and the bait rope snags my body and topples me in.
Okay, June, you ready? Okay. There's another one. That one don't take it, the others will. Pretty stroppy shark.
Lemon sharks are not on our tagging agenda, but their record may be useful for future shark projects. We know we're in for a long wait for the tigers to appear, so Adam and his friend James have a ball teasing 2 lemon sharks.
Whoa, that's a big one. Oh, yeah. Man, he's tough. You don't jerk it, otherwise you won't get his teeth in. Oh, here comes, he's got it. Yeah, pull him in. Man, he's big. Don't take your balance. Whoa, there's fell in there. Oh, there's another one. Oh, pretty big. He's right underneath us. Oh, watch him. Big. Oh, look, he's coming right to me. Oh, it's good big. Oh, look, yeah, look. Okay, stop. Go fall in. Oh, what's that? Oh, yeah. I think he just pushed under it. Bring it down.
While we're having fun at the stern, Dean spots the approaching tiger off the bow. The team are going to work from Shane's boat this time. It's more versatile for tracking the tigers. A storm has come up, making working conditions difficult. Still tied to my vessel, but hanging well back, they offer the shark a pile of rich-smelling burley.
Here we go. We've got a shark coming up now, Benjamin. Look at that one.
Yep.
Looks like he's got the bait, Benjamin.
Yeah, he's going for it now. Yeah, he's straight in for it. Tag is in the top left side.
Pull him in, pull him in.
That tag is nice and very deep. It's just sticking out. That's fantastic. It could give us a really good signal.
All right.
Check it out right now.
Yes, I think this is going to be it. We're on the lower stream, so I think she's coming back for another feed.
Yeah. She's very loud, very close. We might hang here for a moment, Shane, until she makes up her mind as to where she wants to go. That's close. We have to hang about, otherwise we'll just start zipping around in circles and making her nervous. The signal was so loud that I lost my direction on it. It's just everywhere.
I've seen her in the bottom. There she is. She's directly below the boat.
Yeah.
Hang on.
Shane is taking a calculated risk. He knows the shark is happily gorging on all those fish carcasses and presumably has its mouth full.
Come on in. Let's have a look at it. Come on in. Woo!
Benjamin is too caught up in the excitement to give it a second thought.
God, she's beautiful. Isn't she? She is just so incredibly beautiful.
So I don't think I've got enough.
Thick, just incredibly thick.
She's solid, solid, isn't it? Yeah, she's very solid.
She doesn't know what we are. She just looks and goes like, She's getting a bit faint, Shane, and fairly variable. I think we better get the anchor up and start tracking the tiger shark.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea before she gets too far away, so we can keep a good track on her.
Well, Shane, can you cut the engines for a moment? I want to get a fix on the shark again.
Okay, no worries.
All right, here we go. The hydrophone. Let's have a listen. Yep, there it is, 90 degrees. Just straight out there. Can you give me a bearing on that?
Yeah, that's a bearing about 180 degrees, just about due south.
All right, what I'll do is I'll just grab the GPS and then put a fix in at the same time.
Okay.
See where we are. There we go.
We've learnt most of the tigers that come in to feed are females. They're very productive creatures, producing up to 80 pups at a time.
Okay, Benjamin, when you're ready.
Tiger's right over there, Shane. Exactly this way. What direction is that?
About 275, almost due west.
Do you know where we are?
Wouldn't have the foggiest, somewhere on Bat Reef.
So we'll head due west.
Yeah.
Just got another GPS fix, Shane. I'll just put it in the chart, see where we are. That's it, right on the northern end of Bat Reef.
Hey guys, how'd it go?
Ah, great. Really good. Tractor all throughout the night. Yeah, all throughout the night. We went close to the shipping channel actually. And we lost in the middle of the night because we were so close to on top of this very shallow reef area that we just had to save the boat really. We hit the reef once, so we had to get the motor off.
We tried to do a bit more on spec, try and find it later on. We looked for about an hour or so. Tried all over the place. We just couldn't find a ping anywhere.
Are you going to go out again?
I think we need a cup of coffee first before we go.
Well, why don't you come and have breakfast?
Hey, terra firma.
That's better.
We have seen the tiger shark's changing moods, a slow-moving, seemingly passive creature who knows it is Lord of the Sea, which then becomes a calculating, relentless feeding machine that does not stop until all is consumed.